What's up guys? Today Amazon released their April update called Icebound. There's a ton of amazing details in this one, and I can't wait to get into it. A quick overview for some of the things covered in this update are the all-new Ice Gauntlet and some of the abilities they've shown, faction control points, which are capturable points placed in all territory forts, which function similar to King of the Hill. If your faction has more people in the zone, you win it. These zones can be captured at any time and provide a world bonus. There's two expeditions, the first being Lazarus Instrumentality, which is about the ancients, and then we have the Dynasty Shipyard, and it's all about the Empress of Ebonscale and the corrupted fleet she's building. A all-new achievement system with over 400 achievements currently, and a really massive one, direct player-to-player trading. And then we have general updates to balance crafting, gathering loot, gear, and progression. I think you guys are going to really like this one. There's a ton of details for us to talk about, and I'm really curious about what you guys think of the new updates and if the game is going in the direction that you want it to. Timestamps below as always, or you can just watch all the way through so you don't miss anything, as this video will be detail packed. And if you do find this video helpful, informative, or want to stay up to date on everything New World, slap that subscribe button. It would help me out a ton and show me you guys like my content. Now let's go ahead and get into it. First up we have the new weapon. I'm sure you all have seen it by now. It's the Ice Gauntlet, which is a magical gauntlet that harnesses the elemental power of ice. The gauntlet will scale off intelligence. There will be two mastery trees, being the Ice Tempest tree, which focuses on damage and area of denial, and the Ice Conjurer tree, which focuses on crowd control, protection, and a deployable ice pylon that fights alongside the player, and it will improve their power and efficiency. They didn't give us many details on the gauntlet, but I have some gifs and pictures to show you from the creator kit. One of the gifts looks like the player forms a ice block around themselves that seems like it might prevent damage for a period of time. Another ability they show is a beam of ice that looks like it will do constant damage as long as the beam is on the target. And then there's something that looks like an ice fall, similar to arrow rain on the bow, but ice shards fall down in an area, damaging and maybe slowing them as well. Lastly, we have what might be a parry ability, similar to the rapier, where you do a counterattack if an enemy hits you while you're countering. Unfortunately, that's all we have right now. But I'm curious by the way that they said the pylon fights alongside the player. Perhaps it's a buffing turret? And of course, the weapon has a legendary quest. When you hit level 60, you can talk to Ranger Heatley in the Great Cleave to start it. Now we have the faction control points. To incentivize PvP and to make the influence race more interesting, they've added the ability to fight over forts outside of wars. There will be capturable points placed in all territory forts. Players can capture these points by having more members of their faction inside the point, similar to King of the Hill, and it will remain captured unless another faction captures it or wins a war for the territory. And since only wars will prevent you from capturing it, they will need to be protected at all times. Players will need to be flagged for PvP to enter any claimed fort. Control points will be active at 60 minutes after the war or invasion is completed. The control point is deactivated once a war or invasion is declared. Controlling a fort provides a 5% increase to experience gain and 20% increase to influence within that territory for the faction members. Each fort has a unique global buff that is provided to the controlling faction, and some of these are amazing. First Light reduces the travel weight cost from 5 Azoth per 10 weight down to 1 Azoth per 10 weight for controlling faction. Monarch's Bluff reduces fast travel distance cost from 5 Azoth per 100 meters down to 1 Azoth per 100 meters. Windsward increases volume of items gained when gathering by 5%. Everfall reduces trading tax by 5%. Brightwood reduces housing tax by 5%. Cutlass Keys reduces base Azoth for fast travel by 50%. Weaver's Fin increases coin experience, territory standing, and faction token rewards from faction missions by 5%. Restless Shore increases coins, experience, and faction token rewards from corrupted breaches by 5%. Morning Dell increases coin and experience rewards from expeditions by 5%. Ebonscale Reach reduces refining taxes by 5%. Reekwater reduces crafting taxes by 5%. Next, since we're talking about territory and factions, is territory control incentives. They've added a number of benefits for the faction controlling a territory, like any 2, maybe more, settlements controlled by the same faction will have their storages linked, and players can transfer items between the 2 for a coin fee. A resource cart will be in each town that provides the controlling faction small amounts of ore, hide, wood, fibers, food, or oil, and refining reagents such as tannin or sandpaper. None of the faction or company bonuses will apply if the territory taxes don't get paid. The existing benefits for settlement control still apply as well. Their faction bonuses: 10% increased gathering volume in controlled territory, plus 50 luck in controlled territory. Company bonuses: 70% fast travel discount to the controlled territory, 30% reduced taxes in controlled territory, 20% reduced house purchase cost in controlled territory. It's amazing to see a reason to PvP outside of wars now. Before this, the only thing to incentivize PvP was faction missions, and those simply didn't draw enough players in to make PvP commonplace and be a real persistent threat while out and about if you're flagged. Now we have 2 expeditions. The first being Lazarus Instrumentality, located in Reekwater, where players must venture into the secret site that may hold the key to the origins of the ancient guardians to vanquish the behemoth Chartis. There will be 2 boss fights, with Scylla, who utilizes both lethal weaponry and destructive magics, or Chartis, who is a colossal ancient construct that can grant eternal power or swift destruction to those who awaken him. The second expedition is the Dynasty Shipyard, where you must fight the Empress of Ebonscale, who is building a fleet of warships. There's 2 boss fights, the first being Isabella's pets, Joven and Oro, who obediently wait for Isabella's command. The second being Jo Taeying, graceful and brimming with rage. This empress in exile commands an army loyal beyond death and wields immense corruption energies to exact her revenge. While we're talking about expeditions, they also added a few more features to them, like each expedition has a variety of exclusive random drops, and each boss in the expedition has their own selection of special items they drop. Expeditions now include expedition exclusive resources in their drop tables. Regular expedition mobs drop 1 resource type, while bosses drop a different resource. These resources are used to craft replicas of non-named expedition exclusive equipment, enabling crafters to create powerful items with guaranteed perk outcomes. However, the gear score on these items still rolls, so it's possible to get items that vary in power. These resources can be traded between players on the trading post, but they didn't mention direct player-to-player trading on these. Next up, we have achievements. There will be over 400 achievements on the April release, and they will be keeping track of and rewarding various player actions. There will be an achievement tab in the character screen, and there will be hidden achievements as well, locked behind a hint. Achievements will be character locked while in progress, but once completed, it will unlock for your entire account and every character. Now for general changes, and the first section is for PvP faction missions, where they say they've introduced a new style of PvP missions, which require players to complete missions in contested areas with opposing faction. They tuned PvP mission rewards to reflect the risk level and time investment required. Each faction will have their own missions as well. Now for the PvE faction missions. PvE missions are now multi-step across all territories, except for Shattered Mountains, Great Cleave, and Eden Grove, and are designed to give players a curated tour to locations that fit their selected mission type. Now we have progression updates. They've added some new rewards for leveling, and updated the levels at which some current rewards unlock. The presentation of those milestones have been updated for clarity. Players can access milestone rewards from the View Leveling Rewards button on the attribute screen. Added Tier 2 and Tier 3 Azov staffs that unlock through the main story quests at level 30 and 40 respectively. A Tier 1 Azov staff can close corrupted breaches up to level 25. A Tier 2 can close level 35. A Tier 3 can close level 65. Players now unlock different tiers of their camps at levels 5, 15, 25, 40, 55 for Tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through specific quests in the world. Fourth consumable slot now unlocks at 25 instead of 45. A player's first home now unlocks at 15, second house at level 35, and third house at level 55, down from 20, 40, 60 previously. Now on to the changes to loot and gear. Removed name shields from the faction shop and replaced them with faction specific shields. Faction Ice Gauntlets are now available in the faction shop. We are continuing to add more visual variety to our armor sets. Updated visuals to all weights of tier 5 armors. High level Corrupted, Lost, and Angry Earth enemies all have a chance to drop armors with themed styles. Elite Corrupted creatures in elite points of interest have updated armor styles to drops. Added named items to expeditions. Each expedition has a variety of exclusive random drops, and each boss in the expedition has their own selection of special items they drop. Increase the minimum gear score that can drop off creatures of a particular level, which should slightly increase the likelihood of players getting more desirable gear scores on their drops as they level their character and fight tougher enemies. Added a unique set of Outpost Rush specific name armor and weapons that appears random drops from Outpost Rush reward chests. Gear perks added a variety of new perk items to drop tables to accommodate the addition of new perks. Added and updated all perks. There are now 150 different perks across all item types. Introduce new perks whose power scales dynamically off an item's gear score. Old perks will continue functioning, except when it has been deliberately removed. Removed perks are indicated as such. Added 6 mastery ability perks per weapon, 1 perk for each ability in the mastery tree. These perks modify the base functionality of one's weapon's abilities. All weapons, armors, and jewelry now have 8 possible perk types that can be applied. Bags and tools have 6 possible perk types that can be applied. Some perks now feature internal cooldowns, such as Infuse Mana perk. Lightweight perk has been removed, as it conflicted with the new armor weight mechanics introduced in the March release. The old Mana Infusion perk has been removed. Perk items now grant 1 bonus, as the bonuses no longer have levels. The exception here are the attribute items, which will be updated in the future, and weapon charms, which have a chance to grant 1 to 2 perks when used. Now we have crafting and gathering. Jewel crafting recipes now require jewel crafting components, which enable the same gear score range to be crafted onto the trinkets that previously only enjoyed by other crafting equipment. Components are things like chains for amulets, bands for rings, and hooks for earrings. These components are crafted first and then combined with a gemstone to create the trinket. Added carnelian gems to ore veins and corresponding gem cutting recipes. Carnelian gems aren't used for jewel crafting yet, but can be socketed onto items for a bonus effect. In weapons, they turn on Taunt, which puts the player on top of the threat list for enemy AI, to a select set of abilities. Reap, Final Stand, Shield Bash, Shockwave, Alt Kick, Repost, Berserk. In armor, they reduce the amount of threat a player applies. Saltpeter has replaced fire motes as an ingredient for gunpowder. Saltpeter can be found in many caves throughout Eternum. Arrows and cartridges now stack to 500, up from 250. Next up, we have the combat changes, where they've changed a few of the benefits from stats and made a few weapon changes. I'm not going to go into the weapon balances unless it's something worth noting, like a new ability or massive nerf. They're continuing to tune enemy AI. There's a new mechanic called large enemy staggers, where you can knock certain large enemies into a long, highly punishable reaction if you deplete their stamina. You can deplete their stamina by using charged heavy attacks, similar to what you would do to trigger a shield break on an enemy. Attribute threshold bonuses are a new addition to New World. They give a persistent bonus to the players for maintaining certain point values in each attribute. A new attribute bonus unlocks every 50 points you have in a single attribute. Each bonus unlocked will have both PvE and PvP uses. I'm going to read all the bonuses because this is entirely new and there's some really good benefits to unlocking these. Strength 50 points, plus 15% damage to melee weapon light attacks, plus 10% mining speed. 100 points, plus 20% damage to melee heavy attacks, plus 20 encumbrance. 150 points, plus 50% stamina damage for melee weapon light and heavy attacks, minus 10% decrease in weight for mined items. 200 points, plus 20% damage on stunned, slowed, or rooted enemies, plus 10% mining speed. 250 points, stamina regeneration continues while performing light and heavy attacks with melee weapons, plus 10% yield increase when mining. 300 points, light and heavy attacks with melee weapons gain grit, 25% chance to fully mine a ore node with a single swing. Dexterity, 50 points, 10% chance to increase critical hit, plus 10 skinning speed. 100 points, plus 5% pierce damage, plus 20% haste for 3 seconds after skinning. 150 points, dodging cost 10 less stamina, minus 10% decrease in weight of skinned items. 200 points, plus 20% bonus backstab and headshot damage, plus 10% skinning speed. 250 points, plus 30% bonus critical hit damage on stunned, slowed, or rooted enemies, plus 10% yield increase when skinning. 300 points, ammo has 15% chance of being returned, guaranteed critical hit after a dodge roll. Intelligence, 50 points, plus 10% damage to light and heavy magic attacks, plus 10% harvest speed. 100 points, plus 20% critical hit damage, 5% chance to gain 1 Azoth when harvesting. 150 points, plus 20% to elemental damage, minus 10% decrease in weight of harvested items. 200 points, plus 10 mana after a dodge, plus 10% harvesting speed. 250 points, plus 30% duration to damage of time spells, plus 10% yield increase when harvesting. 300 points, plus 300% damage for first hit on full health target, minus 10% reduction in Azoth travel costs. Focus, 50, plus 10% mana regeneration rate, plus 10% fishing line tension. 100 points, plus 20 to mana pool, plus 10% yield increase when salvaging. 150 points, 20% healing output, 10% decrease in weight of fishing items. 200 points, 20% duration on casted buffs, 10% fishing line tension. 250 points, 30 mana on any self or group kill, plus 10% increase to caught fish size. 300 points, when mana hits 0, gain 200% mana regeneration for 10 seconds, 60-second cooldown, 10% cooldown reduction for fast travel. Constitution, 50 points, all health consumables, plus 20% stronger, 10% logging speed. 100 points, increased max health by 10% of physical armor, 10% reduction of durability loss for tools. 150 points, 20% reduction to crit damage taken, 10% decrease in weight of logging items. 200 points, plus 20% increase to armor, plus 10% logging speed. 250 points, 80% damage reduction when full health, plus 10% yield increase when logging. 300 points, plus 30% duration of stun, slows, and root spells. 25% chance to chop down a tree in a single swing. Now they have some balance changes, and it's really nothing too big or of note until we're able to play. The one thing worth noting is that the hatchet now has 4 attacks up from its 3 in its light attack chain. Now for the UI changes, they've added direct player-to-player trading, which can be used to trade coin up to 5 items at once. To start the trade, you must use social actions on a player or use the social menu, and the player must be within 2 meters of you. This will include a lock-in process before accepting, so nobody can bait and swap you for your trimmed rune armor. Next up is inventory update. Players will be able to lock their favorite items, preventing you from salvaging it on accident. And you can see what is locked by a little padlock icon on the item picture. And they also added the ability to see your average gear score in the bottom right of your stat area. Now for the UI visual updates, updated quest to consolidate UI elements with added sorting categories for quests like closest, easiest, territory, and objective type. They changed how depth of field works with character inventory and NPC conversation screens. The outline should be more crisp and sharp. Visual updates for expeditions, which include a new celebration banner with plans to add map tooltips in the future. UI updates for Outpost Rush, added visual updates to level milestone banners, and the level rewards access through the attribute screen. That's it for everything Amazon has given us. Now I'm going to quickly give my opinion on some of the things that I liked and disliked. The first thing I'm going to say that I already love is the new Ice Gauntlet. It looks like it'll have so much potential for farming enemies to gain levels, and I'm really betting it will be a top tier weapon when paired with either the bow or spear, because both of these weapons have a escape ability and they have mobility. That goes really well with the Ice Gauntlet's slow. And for the direct player-to-player trading, that is simply amazing. When I played in the preview, I wanted to trade with people so badly without using the trading posts, and now we finally can. I love trading, and this is one of the best update notes I've seen. The last thing I'll go over for things I liked is the achievement system. The preview was extremely fun, and it only made me wonder how fun it would be if we had a full achievement list like World of Warcraft or RuneScape, because it gives people a sense of completion, and having that feeling is what will keep people playing in the long run. The thing I wish we saw more of, and my only complaints, is the Ice Gauntlet abilities. I know they don't want to ruin the full surprise, but it's something everybody wants to see, since the weapon is so different from what we've seen so far, and the abilities could be insane. There's so much potential there. I'm curious about what you guys think, and if the update was everything you wanted. If it was, or if you would add anything, we can talk about it down below. That's it for this one, guys. I really hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a good one.